Right now, as you watch this video, you're experiencing something that doesn't exist, at least not as we think it does. The vibrant red of an apple, the deep blue of the sky outside your window, the warm golden glow of your lamp. None of these colors exist in the world around you. They are biological inventions, translations created entirely within the architecture of your brain. In the objective reality that physics describes, there is no red, there is no blue, there is no color at all. Only wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation bouncing through space, invisible, colorless vibrations that your nervous system transforms into the rich, saturated world you call home. But here's what should keep you awake tonight. If something as fundamental as color is a complete fabrication of your mind, what else might be? What about the solid objects you're surrounded by? What about the space between them? What about the very sensation of being you, sitting here in this moment, watching these words appear before your eyes? Are we looking at the world through a clear window, observing reality as it truly is? Or are we living inside a meticulously crafted story, written moment by the most sophisticated storyteller you've ever encountered? Your own mind. This isn't philosophy. This isn't speculation. This is the startling conclusion emerging from the cutting edge of neuroscience and consciousness research. Scientists are discovering that your brain doesn't passively receive the world around you. Instead, it actively constructs it, painting reality from the inside out, using a palette of memories, predictions, and hidden assumptions you've never consciously examined. The implications are staggering. If your perception is not a faithful recording but an active creation, then the fundamental nature of your experience, everything you've ever seen, heard, felt, or believed about the world, might be something entirely different than what you think. We're about to explore the hidden architecture of your own consciousness, the secret machinery that builds your reality moment by moment. This journey is grounded in leading-edge science and philosophy, designed not to provide easy answers, but to offer you a new lens through which to view the most intimate mystery of all, your own experience. What we'll discover together might change how you see everything. It might change how you see yourself. If you believe the greatest mysteries are the ones we carry within us, consider subscribing. Let's begin by finding the first crack in the mirror of perception, the place where your brain's beautiful deception begins to reveal itself. Right now, there's a hole in your vision, a blank space where you see absolutely nothing, and your brain has been hiding it from you your entire life. Close your right eye, hold your finger about arm's length away, and slowly move it to the left while staring straight ahead. At some point, your finger will simply vanish. Not because it moved too fast, not because the lighting changed, but because you found your blind spot, a region where your optic nerve connects to your retina, creating a gap in your visual field the size of 9 full moons. But here's the unsettling part. You never notice this gaping hole in your sight. Your brain doesn't leave it empty. It doesn't fill it with static or darkness. Instead, it actively fabricates what should be there. If you're looking at a blue wall, it paints blue into the void. If there's a pattern, it continues the pattern seamlessly across the gap. This is called perceptual filling in, and it's not a guess, it's not an approximation. Your brain is literally manufacturing reality in that space, creating visual information that was never captured by your eyes, then convincing you so completely that you never suspect the deception. But the editing goes deeper. Every few seconds, your eyes dart around in rapid movements called saccades. During these lightning-quick jumps, your brain does something extraordinary. It actively deletes the visual information flooding in. It blinds you on purpose, erasing the dizzying blur that would otherwise assault your senses as your eyes leap from point to point. You're functionally blind dozens of times per minute, but you never experience blindness. Your brain stitches together a seamless, stable world from these disconnected snapshots, then hides its own machinery so completely that you experience continuous, unbroken vision. Think about what this means. Your brain isn't just passively recording what's out there, it's editing the feed in real time. It's making executive decisions about what you're allowed to experience. It's deleting information, fabricating information, and smoothing over the gaps so expertly that you remain completely unaware of the process. Philosopher Daniel Dennett realized the profound implications of these simple physiological facts. If your brain is actively constructing your visual experience moment by moment, filling in gaps and making editorial choices, then what you call seeing isn't really seeing at all. It's something closer to controlled dreaming while awake. But if your brain is editing your most fundamental sense, the one you trust above all others, what else might it be editing? What other aspects of your reality are being actively constructed, filtered, and presented to you as if they were simply out there waiting to be discovered? The blind spot isn't just a quirk of anatomy, it's a window into the hidden truth about perception itself. Your experience isn't a passive recording of the world, it's an active creation, a real-time construction project happening inside your skull, and this is just the beginning. Everything you've been told about how your brain works is backwards. For centuries, we've thought of the brain as a sophisticated camera, passively receiving signals from the world and assembling them into our experience. Light hits your eyes, sound waves enter your ears, and somewhere inside your skull, these signals get processed into the movie of reality you're watching right now. But this is completely wrong. Your brain doesn't wait for the world to tell it what's happening. Instead, it's constantly generating predictions, detailed, moment-by-moment hypotheses about what should be out there. Before light even hits your retina, your brain has already decided what you're probably seeing. Before sound reaches your ears, it's already predicting what you're likely to hear. This is the revolutionary framework neuroscientists call predictive processing, and it changes everything we thought we knew about perception. Imagine you're walking through a forest at dusk. The sensory information reaching your brain is sparse and noisy: shadows, rustling sounds, fragments of movement in your peripheral vision. A camera would struggle to make sense of this chaotic data. But your brain doesn't struggle because it's not starting from scratch. It's already running a detailed simulation of what a forest at dusk should contain. Trees swaying in the wind, small animals moving through underbrush, the play of fading light through leaves. Your senses don't build this experience, they simply correct and refine a prediction that was already running. This is why you can recognize your friend's voice in a crowded restaurant even when you can barely hear them. Your brain predicted they would sound like that and used just enough auditory information to confirm the guess. It's why you can navigate your bedroom in complete darkness. Your brain is running a detailed spatial model of where everything should be, using only tiny scraps of sensory feedback to verify its predictions. Neuroscientist Carl Friston, one of the architects of this theory, describes your brain as fundamentally a prediction machine. But perhaps the most elegant way to understand this comes from neuroscientist Anil Seth, who calls your entire perceptual experience a controlled hallucination. Think about that phrase. A hallucination is when your brain generates experiences that don't match external reality. But what Seth is suggesting is far more radical. All perception is hallucination. The only difference is that normal perception is hallucination that's been steered and corrected by sensory input. You're not experiencing the world, you're experiencing your brain's best guess about the world, refined by just enough sensory data to keep the hallucination aligned with reality. This explains everything we discovered in the previous section. Your blind spot gets filled in because your brain predicted what should be there. Your vision stays stable during eye movements because your brain predicted a stable world and simply ignored the contradictory information from your moving eyes. But here's where this gets profound. If your entire perceptual experience is a controlled hallucination generated by predictions, then the boundary between inner and outer dissolves. What you think of as the external world, the room you're sitting in, the sounds around you, even your own body, these aren't separate from your consciousness. They are your consciousness, actively constructed moment by the most sophisticated reality generation system in the known universe. Your brain isn't showing you the world, it's creating a world for you to inhabit. And once you understand this, you begin to realize that the architect of your universe has been hiding in plain sight all along. It's been you, or rather, the vast, unconscious intelligence that you call you, has been painting reality from the inside out, using brushstrokes you never knew existed. But this raises a disturbing question. If your reality is being actively constructed by predictions, what happens when those predictions are influenced by forces you're not even aware of? Your heart is beating right now, your stomach is digesting, your lungs are expanding and contracting, and your brain is listening to every whisper from your body, using these internal signals as ingredients in the reality it's constructing for you. This hidden sense is called interoception, your brain's awareness of your body's internal state. And what neuroscience is discovering will fundamentally change how you understand your own experience. These bodily signals aren't just background noise, they're primary data that your predictive brain uses to paint the world you perceive. Think about the last time you were really anxious. Did the world look different? Did that neutral comment from a friend suddenly seem loaded with judgment? Did shadows appear more threatening? That wasn't your imagination playing tricks on you. That was your brain using the data of anxiety, increased heart rate, tense muscles, stress hormones, as information about the world itself. When your nervous system is activated, your predictive brain doesn't just think, "I'm feeling anxious in a neutral world." Instead, it concludes, "This must be a dangerous world that requires vigilance." It then constructs your perceptual experience accordingly, highlighting potential threats, amplifying ambiguous social cues, and literally making the environment feel more hostile. This is what neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett calls affective realism, the profound idea that your emotions aren't reactions to the world, but are active ingredients in how your brain constructs the world for you to experience. When you're sad, colors genuinely appear less saturated. This isn't metaphorical. Your brain, interpreting the low energy and chemical signals of sadness, predicts a world with less vibrancy and constructs your visual experience accordingly. When you're exhausted, that hill really does look steeper. Your brain, sensing depleted energy reserves, adjusts its spatial predictions to reflect the increased effort required by your current bodily state. When you're in love, that person's face actually appears more beautiful to you than it does to others. Your brain, flooded with bonding hormones and positive predictions, constructs a version of their features that matches your internal emotional landscape. This isn't bias creeping into an otherwise objective system. This is how the system works. Your feelings are data about the world as much as light waves or sound waves are data about the world. Your brain treats them all as equally valid information sources when building your moment-to-moment experience. Barrett's research reveals something extraordinary. There is no neutral observation. Every perception is colored by the internal state of the perceiver. The hungry person experiences food differently than the satisfied person. The lonely person experiences social interactions differently than the connected person. The confident person experiences challenges differently than the fearful person. This explains why two people can witness the exact same event and have completely different experiences of what happened. They weren't experiencing the same world filtered through different perspectives. They were literally experiencing different worlds, constructed by brains operating with different internal data. Your reality isn't just influenced by your emotions and bodily states, it's partially created by them. The boundary between inner and outer experience dissolves completely. When you realize that your feelings are as much a part of the construction process as photons hitting your retina. But this raises a profound and unsettling question. If your internal states are actively shaping the reality you perceive, and if this process is largely unconscious, then how much of what you call the objective world is actually just a reflection of patterns and predictions you've never examined? What if the very structure of reality as you know it has been shaped by forces far more fundamental than your moment-to-moment emotions? If your brain constructs reality from predictions influenced by your internal states, there's one question that demands an answer. Why would evolution design us this way? Why wouldn't we simply see the world as it truly is? The answer will shatter everything you thought you knew about the nature of reality itself. Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman has spent decades investigating this question, and his conclusion is as elegant as it is terrifying. Evolution shaped our brains to hide objective reality from us because seeing the truth would kill us. Think about your computer desktop. You see colorful icons, a trash can, folders, documents. You click on these images to interact with your files. But here's what you don't see: the millions of lines of code, the voltage patterns, the magnetic states on your hard drive that actually constitute your computer's reality. The desktop interface hides this complexity from you on purpose. If you had to manipulate raw code every time you wanted to open a document, you'd never get anything done. The colorful icons bear no resemblance to the underlying reality, but they're infinitely more useful for survival in the digital world. Hoffman argues that perception works exactly the same way. Space, time, objects, colors, These are our evolutionary desktop icons. They're useful fictions that allow us to navigate reality without being overwhelmed by its true complexity. Consider what objective reality actually looks like according to physics: quantum fields fluctuating in probability clouds, particles existing in multiple states simultaneously, space-time curving and warping, energy and matter as interchangeable aspects of an underlying mathematical structure. An organism that perceived reality this way would be paralyzed by infinite complexity. But an organism that sees simplified icons, solid objects moving through empty space over linear time, can act quickly and decisively. It can run from predators, find food, and reproduce. This isn't speculation. This is the inevitable mathematical outcome when you properly account for the costs of processing infinite information versus the benefits of acting on simplified, survival-relevant cues. We are the descendants of countless generations of interface users. Every ancestor who survived long enough to reproduce was an ancestor who saw useful fictions rather than overwhelming truth. We exist because our lineage specialized in constructing helpful hallucinations rather than perceiving accurate reality. The space you're sitting in doesn't exist. The time that seems to flow around you is a construction. The solid objects surrounding you are as fictional as the desktop icons on your screen. Even your sense of being a separate self located inside a body is just another interface element, useful for survival but utterly divorced from the underlying nature of what you actually are. This is the most profound paradigm shift in human history. We are not observers of an objective world. We are active participants in a collective hallucination, evolved over millions of years to be so convincing that we mistake it for reality itself. You have never seen the world. You have only ever seen your mind's version of it. But if this is true, if everything you've ever experienced is just an interface hiding an unknowable reality, then what are you? And what is the nature of the canvas upon which your consciousness paints this elaborate illusion? If everything you've ever experienced is just an interface hiding an unknowable reality, you might feel a profound sense of disconnection, lost, cut off from the truth of existence itself. But what if this feeling is just another prediction your brain is making? And what if that prediction is wrong? You are not a passive victim of an elaborate deception. You are not a prisoner trapped behind the veil of perception, forever separated from the real world. You are something far more extraordinary than that. You are a conscious agent actively collaborating with the universe in the ongoing creation of experience itself. Every moment, your awareness is engaged in the most intimate dance imaginable with whatever fundamental reality lies beyond the interface. Your consciousness doesn't simply observe a pre-existing world or passively receive a predetermined hallucination. It participates, it chooses, it creates. When you shift your attention, you're not just changing what you notice about a fixed reality, you're participating in the moment-by-moment construction of what becomes real for you. When you alter your internal state through breath, through movement, through the quality of your thoughts, you're not just changing your mood, you're changing the very fabric of the world you inhabit. This isn't philosophy, this isn't wishful thinking, this is the profound implication of everything we've explored together. If perception is construction, and if consciousness is the constructor, then awareness itself is the most creative force you'll ever encounter. The question isn't whether you're connected to ultimate reality. The question is, what is the nature of the mysterious canvas upon which your consciousness paints? What is the fundamental substrate that responds to the brushstrokes of your attention, your intention, your very being? This is the edge of the known, the place where neuroscience dissolves into mystery and mystery opens into wonder. Your mind creates your reality, but what creates your mind? Your consciousness constructs your world, but what is consciousness itself? You came here thinking you might discover something about perception. Instead, you've encountered the deepest question of all. What are you really when everything you thought you were turns out to be an interface hiding something unimaginably more profound? These are the territories we explore together, the questions that live at the intersection of science and mystery, knowledge and wonder. Beyond reality is just beginning.